Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, my partner and I, from class J4EM1104A, for the subject of MEM360, are going to present the basics of manufacturing of teapot, or to be exact, the manufacturing of ceramic clay. So we are comprised of two students, me, which is Muhammad Marifan Muhammad Yusuf, and Muhammad Shazani bin Shamsul. So the origin. So the teapot originated from its real name, which is the Yizing teapot. So what actually is a teapot? So a teapot features breathable clay construction that absorbs natural flavors and aroma in tea. So teapot are used in everyday conversation, basically. So whenever you go to the coffee shops nearby your house, or maybe it's already in your house. So these are the examples of when and where we use teapots. So how do we manufacture teapots? So basically, it's manufactured through the process of slip casting, where a ceramic forming technique for pottery and other ceramics are used. So here will be the video explanation. So for the flow of process, so there are 9 processes of manufacturing teapot. First, glaze will be slightly heated, and then a rubber band is used to tie 2 mold slabs together. Next, clay is poured carefully to avoid bubbles, so that step 4 could be started, which is lining against the mold creation. Next is exit slip of the mold will be poured out and let dry. Number 6 is when hardened mold slab is removed. 7. Mold with air dried mold will be air dried for 24 hours. Next is slab of clay will be shaped for the handle. And last but not least, handle and spout will be attached to the main body.
Making a cup of tea is something most people are very familiar with, so it's strange most of us know little about the teapots or cups which we use. That's why in this video we'd like to give you the full tour and show you how a teapot is made. Then, next time you use pottery, we hope you'll stop to consider the long and surprising journey this integral part of our day-to-day lives has been on, before, finally, you can use and enjoy it. The journey of a teapot starts here at the plunger, where a mixture of fresh and recycled clay is mixed with water and strong alkalis to create a liquid called slip. The slip can then be poured into mould designed specially here at the pottery, and then are left for 45 minutes before they can be tipped. Because the clay dries quicker to form a solid at the edges of the mould, tipping after a carefully controlled amount of time allows most of the still liquid clay to be poured away, leaving the soft but solid layer of clay around the outside. At this stage, timing is very important. Minutes can be the difference between a perfectly cast teapot and something which will have to be recycled in the plunger. The teapot is then left in peace for a few hours relaxation so that it can continue to dry before the excess clay, which will not form part of the final teapot, is trimmed from the shape. The mould can then be taken gently apart and the teapot removed. By now the clay is leather hard, which means although it can be gently handled, it is still pliable and can easily lose its shape. Now the moulds are out, they are left to dry overnight. By the following day, teapots have dried further to a rigid solid, which can then be fettled and sponged. Fettling is the process of removing the mould lines left over from the casting process, rounding square edges, and, in the case of a teapot, opening up the spout, all done by hand with a knife. Next, the sponge is dipped in water and then continues where the knife left off, further smoothing rough edges and unwanted leftovers from the casting process. Running a wet sponge over the whole of the teapot also ever so slightly textures it, which creates a better surface for the designs to adhere to later. The fettled and sponged ware can then be packed in the kiln and fired overnight to temperatures of around 800 degrees centigrade. After the ware has been fired and the kiln has been left to cool, the teapots can be removed and stamped with the Aston Pottery label. The teapot is then ready to be decorated. All our designs start life as drawings, which are then used to produce stencils. Up to 5 stencils may be used to build up the layers needed to produce a single image. Our decorators who then apply these designs serve a 2.5-year apprenticeship, learning how to apply the 55 different colours we use, to avoid too thin an application of colour, which can lead to fading, or too thick an application, which prevents the glaze from sealing in the design. They will also be required to learn around 170 different patterns. Here you can see different colours are applied to 4 separate stencils to produce our Agapanthus design. Back downstairs, the items are dipped in a glaze made from sand, flint, potash and felspar, all mixed together with water. The teapot absorbs the water in the glaze, which dries quickly over the surface and coats it. The gaps left from where it is held when dipped are then covered with more glaze, applied with a paintbrush. Finally, before it can be fired again, the base of each item is wiped on a belt of wet sponge to remove the glaze from the base. This will stop it sticking to the shelf during the second firing. This time the ware is fired in a kiln which reaches a temperature of 1160 degrees centigrade. During the process of firing, the opaque glaze undergoes a chemical transformation which changes it to glass, coating the item. This seals in and protects the design, making it durable, completely dishwasher safe, and strong enough to last a lifetime's use. To finish off, when the kiln has been unpacked, a wet and dry stone is then dipped in water and used to smooth the base before it is ready, finally, to be used.
Next is the process illustration, which will be discussed in the video late, later, which involves slip casting a ceramic part. So the defects on ceramics, there's three. First is the air bubbles, run out of ceramics, and slag inclusion. Control parameters and safety precautions. Control parameters, the casting rate and speed, slip density, slip rheology during drainage, shrinkage and removal of part for mold, and finishing operations. While for the safety precautions is make sure the place to dry the mold during drying process is not too hot. Pour carefully the clay to avoid any bubbles to be trapped in slip when in the mold slab, and clean the mold slab before performing the process. So the pros and cons of this processes is, for the pros, it can create any complex structure economically, the cheapest among all manufacturing processes, and products can be mass produced. For its cons, it gives poor surface finish and mostly requires surface finish operations, gives low fatigue strength as compared to forging, and it has lower dimensional precision. So that is all from us. Thank you and have a nice day.